Hello, the channel. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and hope you all are well. Apologies, there was no preview video or special video during the week. Wasn't really well myself, so it's one of those. The wee man gets unwell and then it just goes through the whole household. The wife's not a fan of either of us at the moment now because she's the other one who's not well. But anyways, I've been trying to enjoy the weekend of football. There's been loads on. Started pretty badly, to be honest. Celtic getting beat 2-1, bit of controversy there as well. Been redeemed, Rangers get beat 2-0, but not really from an SO5 perspective. So let's have a quick look at that first anyway, have a look at what's been going on. Then we'll have a look ahead towards midweek. There is a lot on midweek. We've got the J-League running, Scottish Premier League's running, we've got the English Premier League on. So there's plenty to get stuck into. And of course, this weekend we've had the MLS. Now, it does look as if I can claim one of the streaks here. That's a wee bug, I think, because I didn't use an in-season goalkeeper. So there we go. I could have got $10 back from Nashville, but we'll see how we did. Anyways, let's have a look at the results. So I'm right on track. In fact, I'm right in the middle of right on track. So far, $610. Good amount of essence and some cards as well. So let's have a look at sort of best results. Third at the moment in La Liga EA Sports. Took a bit of a gamble on Modric. I did think that there might have been a bit of carnage with Real Madrid, so kind of put that in the second team with all black, clean sheet. Starfelt did well. Vinny was a bit kind of hit or miss, but to be honest, Danny Olmo was a bit of a gamble in that team as well. Just thought maybe be a bit of rotation and he'd work his way back in for Barcelona. This team for Brentford on Friday night I thought was going to really do me well for the weekend. 4-0. Picked up pretty much the right guys there as well, but it's been quite a high scoring weekend overall. It's a weird one because there's been lots of like DNPs and carnage and goalkeepers out and all that type of stuff, but there's been loads of high scores too. But I have got two D1s back there. Obviously Brighton scored pretty well too, and Brentford even better. Not a huge amount in terms of cash returns, but good to be back in D1 for midweek as well. La Liga we had a wee look at there, nothing much sort of happening from a champ point of view, although starting to pick up some XP there, so that's pretty decent. We'll decide what we're going to do with that. I'm a bit frustrated at this one here. Obviously I've just started playing Challenger in season. Agueli played the ball to Dargeles and he had a big chance missed. It's just like totally like missed like the sort of, well, you get a BCM and obviously missed the decisive for Agueli and also the decisive for Dageles. Don't know how Bromby conceded 2 goals to that team. Like that's the mad one, but there we go. Just didn't quite sort of work out. Had them elsewhere. Patrick Pence was ill as well. It's just one of those weekends. There's loads of carnage about. Definitely have a few promotions picking up some essence and everything, so that's not so bad. You see from Celtic just complete carnage really. Again, 20th here. Loads of really good results, but like Cezinha scored and it was given as an OG, so he didn't actually score. So I just kind of feel as if it's just like sort of knocking on the door and it's just like there's always sort of something happening. Still have something running in the Argentinian special, so I'm going to zoom down to that. I presume that'll be towards the end. Where is it? Have I missed it? Hang on, I'll find it again. I'll pause and I'll find it. So yeah, here we are. Rosario won 1-0, so in this sort of rare side, started quite well. Rodrigo Ray had a clean sheet. River, probably the wrong result. It won 2-0. I did think they would win, but I was kind of hoping it'd be tight, and obviously the decisives for the forwards, if people played full stacks, kind of hard to beat. Malcora was a really good decision. Jamington Campaz and Copetti were pretty poor, so shame there, but still a small amount of cash, I think, pick up. $20-$30, which kind of pays back some of the buys. This one's probably the best chance still. Again, Capetti's sort of wrecked it a wee bit. I don't know why it's... I don't want to see Franco Armani, I want to see the team. Armani's been great. So Romana's still to go. Armelinas still to go as well. I don't think I can win. Look at Montaro. Big man's cleaning up there by the looks of it. So we'll see how that sort of shakes out. There's not that many entrants in it. Could still maybe get a top 5 or 6. So, a wee bit of cash would be good. So anyways, let's look at the preview now for midweek. I just thought we'd do a wee recap of the weekend just because I didn't manage to get the preview out. So there's a couple of things. I'm going to try and get a preview video done for the J and the K League thing at the weekend. I was planning to do it just now, but the problem is the data's not really available yet because the data's just coming through for midweek. So some of the J League stuff is on this. But yeah, for the weekend, the data is not really available yet. It might change obviously a wee bit because there's games midweek as well. So anyways, first and foremost, Celtic up there at the top. Let's hope we don't play as badly as they played against Hibs. Hibs played really well, to be fair. Celtic their goal chalked off, which arguably shouldn't. So 2.96 XG, 52% clean sheet percentage. Clean sheet went in like 2 minutes at the weekend. It's a bit of that kind of heaviness in the legs from the European games, out of shape. Come back to the preview and we'll talk through the actual Celtic team once we went through the other teams. Corinthians not really licensed anymore, although they are in contender, so got to take that into account for Classic. Chelsea broke into the song there. Southampton are rotten. I mean, like, Chelsea are probably not much better form at the moment. Did watch a bit of the game and Jorgensen chucked the second one in. Seemed to have a bit of a goalkeeper issue, but yeah, I'm sure Southampton will find a way to cure that. 2.87 XG, 44% clean sheet percentage makes sense because Southampton can score goals, but yeah, they're a very poor team, and I think they're down really, and their heads are down. Nothing really. Those other teams don't think are licensed. Liverpool against Newcastle is an interesting one. Newcastle played very well today. I watched that game as well against Nottingham Forest. Looked as if Newcastle were going to start quite difficult. You know, they gave ball away, Forest scored, but they really come back very, very strongly. Liverpool were so impressive though against Man City. Like, really accomplished performance, really quite strong. So going to be an interesting one. Newcastle can be a bit hit or miss, but you would have to fancy Liverpool. We just never know. You know, there's a lot of games recently, a lot of games coming up. Champions League against PSG. Obviously look at Southampton, I think, soon, which will be pretty easy. But then there's like another game against Newcastle, I think, which is the EFL Cup. So quite a lot coming up. That's not the actual Barcelona, that's the other Barcelona. So don't look at Barcelona there and think, yeah, 2.2 XG, that's the other Barcelona. Tigres have got some licence cards, interesting. Man City Tottenham will be a good game. Two teams who probably will be doing with a result. And well, get a decent result against Ipswich. So I'm probably turning a corner a wee bit, but tough fixture there. Man City are not keeping many clean sheets either, so it could be fun. Man United against Ipswich. Man United at home, very, very sketchy in form, although they did fight back to the sort of 2 each against Everton, so maybe that will spark them a wee bit. Interesting. Rangers against Kilmarnock. Well, Rangers have been awful this season. I'm going to miss Big Felipe, if I'm honest. It looks like he's been sacked. It's not been officially confirmed, I don't think, by Rangers, but apparently people at the club have been told that he's gone. I'm not surprised at that. I mean, look, you know, Celtic dropped points and Rangers could have brought it back to 10. You think, well, it's still 10 in it, but there is Celtic Rangers game in March, a couple of weeks, so, you know, it's not like completely over or anything yet. Things can still change, but yeah, just terrible result at home against St Mirren. Rangers away form's been really poor this season. I wouldn't fancy them at Kilmarnock because it's a plastic pitch as well. Nah, difficult one. West Ham against Leicester. Again, two teams that are struggling a bit. Vissel Kobe started the season okay. 2-2 at the weekend. So yeah, maybe a wee bit hit or miss, but they've had some sort of Asian Champions League games and things as well. Still very early in the season too. Brighton against Bournemouth. Well, it depends what Brighton turn up. Brighton look either like beat teams 4 or 5-0 or they get hammered, it seems, but they look as if they've turned the corner now, so I think Brighton at home with some good options there. Bournemouth play some good stuff, so that'll be an interesting game. Looks like North Island and Aalborg fall into this game week. I didn't realise that. Aalborg get beat 4-0 earlier, I think, and North Island scored 3. Look out for Levi Nenny. I actually did pick up his super rare, and he scored 2 today and he got an assist. I didn't use him, which is a shame. Then hindsight's a wonderful thing. You say, I wish I'd used them now, got a 90. So I'll probably be using them at some point soon, or will be using them at some point soon. Brentford are playing Everton there as well. I don't think there's much else to cover. Motherwell, yeah, I suppose you could take a bit of a risk on Motherwell. I mean, Dundee have been pretty poor recently, so A lot of disharmony in the camp, I think, there. And then we've got the sort of reverse fixtures. Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, a real interesting game as well. We've got Kashima. So none of the J League games are sort of standouts. That's the thing, Frontale, Urawa Reds. None of them are really standouts. We've got Makita playing against Tokyo Verde as well. So yeah, pretty interesting. I thought those games were actually in the weekend. So yeah, no, that's fine. No, I think Makita etc. do play midweek, and then we've got the special which is run at the weekend. So we'll cover that separately. Want to have a look at the Celtic lineup. So it's going to be an interesting one. There's a couple of things here. Celtic played very well against Bayern Munich, really, really well. Wee bit of a sort of hangover playing against Hibs. I mean, Hibs played very well too. You've got to give them credit, but Celtic were a wee bit flat and caught out at the start, out of shape, etc. Greg Taylor come back in. I'd have him right back out again. Just not good enough. I mean, Jeff, people will find that hard to believe because look at his Sorare scores and everything, but yeah, it's okay playing at Celtic Park when teams are sitting in and you've got all the ball and everything. You've got to be able to defend. You've got to be able to do the other side of the game. Jeffrey Schlupp was really good against Bayern Munich. He is only on loan from Crystal Palace, so could be an interesting one while he stay. Kieran Tierney's already been signing a pre-contract, so he'll join the summer. I think Schlupp will work his way into the team now. He's more athletic than Greg Taylor. I just think he's just a better player than Greg Taylor, if I'm honest. Can kind of do that inverted role where he goes into midfield because played midfield for Palace before Schlupp. I wouldn't say he's the most comfortable, but anyway, we'll spend a bit of time next, but I think it's one of the most contentious positions for midweek, and I think Schlupp will come back in. I think he was left out at the weekend because he played the whole game at Bayern. He's not had a lot of football recently, but I think he'll be back in. Austin Trusty was terrible against Hibs. I've got him down at 60%. I actually thought about putting Scales in. I do think that Scales will maybe get a chance to start either against Aberdeen or against St Mirren at the weekend. It's an interesting one. Rodgers doesn't seem to mess about much with his centre-back pairing. So, yeah, if Schlupp comes in, I would probably favour that he won't make too many changes in the defence because, you've seen what happened at the weekend when we make changes and it can upset things, etc. So, if Schlupp comes in, you might just see Schlupp, Trusty, Vickers and Johnson. I think Vickers pretty nailed. He probably will get rested at some point, but I don't think this is really the time to do it. Aberdeen haven't been in brilliant form, or not as good form as they were earlier on the season, but a dangerous team still high up, top half of the table, etc. So I don't think there'll be much messing about after winning the last game. I've got Alistair Johnson down a bit lower. I mean, he put in a really big shift against Bayern Munich. Huge shift. He's a wee bit of concussion at the end. The game at the weekend. He stayed on and everything, but he looked slightly dazed. So I've reduced his percentage a wee bit. Could be a chance for Ralston to come in. So we'll see what happens there. Midfield, Cal McGregor just starts pretty much all the time. Paulo Bernardo's injured at the moment, so he's not really an option. I think Rio Hatate will come back in. Quite interested at the weekend. All the changes were made at half time. Celtic were down. Hatate come on. Schlupp come on. Jota come on. I'd expect all them to start. Arne Engels, I just don't really know how he can be dropped, if that makes sense. Like, he's been playing pretty well, and I don't think he'd be dropped to just be like minutes managed, but I think what Rodgers will want to do is he'll want to get back to winning ways. He'll want to get the league sort of wrapped up as quickly as possible so that he can then manage the minutes or manage the games in the league. Celtic have got Hibs in a cup cup quarter final coming up at some point soon, and there's some big games coming up. Celtic play against Rangers 16th of March. I think the 9th of March is the Celtic Cup semi-final. It's not a semi-final, it's a quarter-final. Shut up. Got us thinking too far ahead. Cup quarter-final. So basically my reasoning is I think he'll go quite strong with this. He'll try and get points on the board. Try and, get to the point where the league's pretty much won and then, rotate a bit. Hatate, I think, will come back in. Jota never started the game, so I've got Jota, Maeda and Kuhn here. And this is an interesting one. Ida was pretty poor against Hibs as well. He does start quite a lot at home, so I wouldn't put it past him starting. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think Jota will start. He looked pretty sharp when he came on, and he started against Bayern, came off at 60. So Brendan's managing his minutes, and he started the last midweek game, so I think he will start. Nicholas Kuhn, yeah, could be an interesting one. You could maybe see Jota, Ida and Maeda. That could happen as well. There's no two ways about it. You could see Jota, Ida and Maeda just to rescue a wee bit as well. We'll see. I think he'll want to go pretty strong. Maybe even try and get a couple of goals and then bring some guys off at 60 or whatever. St Mirren away at the weekend as well is not going to be an easy one. So you see that there. Look, actually, St Mirren first. Rangers 16th, so there's a bit of a gap from an SO5 point of view because the game on the 9th of March is in the Cup. And then I think there's some internationals. We've had a good break without them, haven't we? So I'm sure there's some international games. So there we go. That's what's happening. So from an SO5 point of view, what else have we got this midweek? I think we've got a cap to 30 as well. I did... let's have a look. I did have a quick look to see what was open. So obviously All Stars permanently open. Got a few D1s back. That's pretty good for EPL. I feel as if obviously from a D1 point of view, like Brentford and Brighton are all not really much else now. So they're hopefully settled down a wee bit team selections wise. You need the right fixtures for them. But there we go. They've proven they can do pretty well. I'll have a D1, which will be the first time actually for the EPL extras and Brighton to glory, although I still think game to go, so I might not get up on both of them, but I think Brighton will definitely go up. In fact, I think they will go up actually. That was a Brentford team. And Chelsea up to Division 2. Some promotions is good. In terms of Celtic and Super Rare, it's you don't get relegated or anything, it's just one big division. So that would be pretty good. The J-League's running, so the cash went back up again. Let's look at the topical ones. I'm not going to select any teams just now. I've done this pretty early. Also because I didn't really get a preview done for midweek. So you got a cap to 30, All-Star. That's pretty interesting. Let's have a quick look at the spreadsheet, see if we can use that a wee bit. Just to see if we can see anything that's sort of sticking out. So this is spreadsheet from Egalit, Sorare probabilities. And I find it very, very useful. As a subscriber thing, I've not built it myself. I can't take the credit for that. So for the cap 230, what we'll do is we'll set a reasonable max. So 230 divided by 5, my maths of 40, around about 45-ish. We'll set it to 45. See if anybody's jumping out in terms of the last 15. It's quite a tough cap, right? I mean, obviously you would probably want I don't know if there's any goalkeepers that come in this weekend that won their place and then play midweek. If you get somebody like that, the last 15 won't have updated yet. So on last 15, max of 45, and then this is set to highest projected score. So there'll be a lot of unfamiliar names here. David Datro for Fan, I think, has just moved. Edson Cavani is kind of in and out. Obviously, Bokov got a pretty favourable fixture. I think he was injured recently. I don't think he was really available. Ross Laidlaw's been injured as well. And this is the problem. You'll get a lot of the guys in here who are they're kind of languishing because they're they've not been playing. If it was a bit nearer time, I could set it to percentages because obviously Agal has got a function where there's some predictions as well. Philip Jorgensen's a real standout. I mean, the only thing is he made a mistake, so will Chelsea mess about again and bring in big Rob Sanchez, or will they stick by him? Last 15 for Jorgensen's 37, so if you're confident he's going to start, then he's a stonker against Southampton. I mean, you can't really wish for a better fixture in the EPL. And Josie Sa there as well for Wolves. Interesting. Is there anybody else sticking out? Would Chelsea maybe rotate a wee bit in defence? Paul Bernardo's injured. Jack Grealish not been playing much for Man City. Although, if you can predict the Pep roulette, then that's fine. Adama Traore, interesting one. Ivor Pandor for Hull. Only classic cards. Anyone else sticking out? It's pretty difficult, that cap, right? It is pretty difficult. There's no two ways about it. Patrick Dorgu, yeah, it could be a good one actually for Man United. Kudus, been really bad form recently, but a guy who's well capable of doing a 70 or an 80. Don't think, say Kelly Herzer, but I don't think there'll be much messing about in that point of view, try to win the league. Ethan Pinnock, down on the averages just now, but pretty solid. Brentford going well, so seems a reasonable shout. Todibo's there as well. Pedro Neto's there. I mean, if you think he's going to start for Chelsea, then he could be a real sort of standout pick as well. Not really been doing too well. Jack Butland is averaging under 45. That is really bad for Rangers. Really bad. He was out for a bit as well though. He was injured, so that could be contributing towards it. But Rangers have been poor since he came back. So there'll be quite a few there. Rasmus Højlund, I mean, Man United home against Ipswich, so could be a not bad week for some action there. Ruben Diaz averaging under 5. That shows you how poor Man City have been this season. That Ruben Diaz is averaging under 45. But if anybody was a guy who averaged in the 60s, crazy. But bad season. With some of these guys, you will have to anticipate some rotation. We got Kim Yin-hee in there, who is he's the Shireko Osaka goalie, I think. So we're getting into the land of some of the sort of guys who are playing in Japan, etc. now. I don't think there's anyone else that springs to mind. I have been buying a few guys there. Bart Verbruggen's certainly a decent shout. I mean, Brighton have been hit or miss, but at home, clean sheet wise only 27%. I think it's probably realistically slightly higher than that. Just Brighton have been pretty good recently, and I think they're coming back to having a bit of confidence. So before we finish the video, let's have a quick look and see what I've been doing. Might not be a quick look actually. I've been buying quite a few cards, but let's have a look at it. So I'll give you a bit of an insight into what I've been doing before the special and the preview for midweek. So I've been picking up some Makeda cards, just sort of getting behind like having Kosai Tani there as well. There's some good fixtures coming up, Tokyo Verde, etc. they're playing. Always pretty solid at the back, so pretty good. Levi Nenny, I picked up his limited earlier, already had the rare and the super. So I scrolled down a wee bit. Picked up Okamura, was pretty good at the weekend. Picked up his super rare before, and then he got injured, and somebody made me an offer and decided just to take it. I didn't think he'd be back for the special, so that's turned out to be a bit of a mistake, but put in a nice 70 at the weekend. Christian Salvador, Ross and Quiles all played in China and smashed it up, so that was a bit of an eye-opener. So I just decided to take some classic cards for a bit of fun over the summer. You'll see I've went in and bought quite a lot of the guys from Makeda just to build up the collection. It's kind of they're my team for the summer. I like what Sorare have done as well with the bonuses, where obviously if I want to add another Tani to using under 23s or even just in contender when there's no Celtic around, etc., then that one will get the bonus as well. So pretty interesting in terms of how you actually strategize that. And you see these cards are not really that expensive. Also in a limited point of view, I picked up some guys to go with like Tani, etc. So I've actually done just that. I've got 2 Kosai Tanis, and then I've sort of built some outfield guys. So I picked up like Lucas Fernandez, Fukumori was pretty cheap, playing pretty well. Jan Mateus, Rafael Elias thinks really cheap, pretty underrated. Yuki Soma at Makeda is actually on. I think he's on sets. I picked up Bruno Lamas to go with Cezinha and some of these other guys. So anyway, I'm not going to go through all of that because you'll probably just get bored to see all those different cards that I've picked up. Also, the wee man's going in for a bath and he's making loads of noise, so it's probably an apt time to wrap up the video, even though I can pause. It's not live, but you know what I mean. So in terms of what's happening midweek, I will keep Predictify obviously updated if you got to this part of the video. Thanks very much for watching. I will do the wee draw at some point midweek or on Friday for the last video when we run the craft. I'm going to try and keep doing that from time to time. Obviously, we've built up to the 100. Might even go to tier 4 because some of the tier 3s recently have been a bit poor. So we'll review that. We'll see what happens. But thanks again for watching. If you do want to use Predictify as a paid service, if you're signing up, use code McBrideace. That would help out the channel a lot as well. And we'll end on that note. Hope everyone has a really successful end to the game week. Hope you all enjoy midweek. And when in customary fashion, if you're playing, good luck and go for it.